Happy Tuesday, everyone. This is History and Coffees on This Day series for March 12th. Today we celebrate the birthday of labor movement leader Lane Kirkland. I will pop his balloon here and we will see there he is enjoying a nice Labor Day parade, and he has a nice birthday cake as well. He was born March 12th, 1922 in Camden, South Carolina. And his most notable achievement raises interesting questions about the labor movement and the role of its leaders. So, Kirkland was president of the most powerful labor organization in the world from 1979 to 1995. And that was the AFL-CIO, which stands for the American Federation of Labor and Congress of Industrial Organizations. It is still highly active today. What's interesting to think about is that he was representing very much a collective movement. The whole worker movement was about, and continues to be about, people coming together collectively and demanding better for each and every one of them, but they do so as a group, right? So how could Kirkland, as one individual, represent a movement that at its core is really about this group mentality? It seems to me that one of the ways that it was helpful for labor unions to have a singular representative like Kirkland is that he could meet with senior political officials and attempt to speak for really the workers he represented. So here we have one of those officials. This is President Carter, and he is looking over here. He seems to be looking at Kirkland, and Kirkland is looking back at him. If we go, they seem to be making eye contact. Kirkland is smiling, I think, and so he could just be doing that for the camera, or he could be smiling because Carter is generally a more pro-labor president than at least the one who came right after him, and we're about to come to that. So we have an audio recording here of Kirkland meeting with the president that came after Carter, who was President Ronald Reagan, and here Reagan is attempting to have a photo op with Kirkland, but the press is trying to ask him questions. And it's interesting because while Reagan was the only president to be a former union leader himself, he was also a very anti-labor president. So let's listen in to what Reagan had to say during his photo op with Kirkland. I do wonder what Kirkland was thinking while the president went on and on about breaking his own no questions during photo ops rule. Just under 4 years later, though, the Washington Post reported that Kirkland was quite unhappy with the Reagan administration. After some passionate words and some profanities about the enemies of labor, I'm not going to say any of those words out loud. You'll see one of them on the screen there. Not a very nice word. So after that, the Post noted that Kirkland railed really against Reagan's economic policies and said that they led to record high trade and budget deficits. And then Kirkland said that those were, quote, the creation and ultimate legacy of Ronald Reagan as a poison pill to the body politic. Yeah, it doesn't sound like he was much of a fan. So let's get back to the Labor Day parade photo here. And I want to think more about Kirkland's role leading workers themselves. Now, Kirkland firmly believed in the importance of leading these union members towards unity across labor organizations. When we zoom in on the back of this photo here, we see this logo that is two hands probably shaking or holding hands. And this is the logo for the AFL-CIO, the organization that Kirkland led. And the logo and the organization as well represent the importance of cooperation. So there is a scholar named Arch Puddington who wrote a book about Kirkland. And in that book, he writes, quote, within a few years, Kirkland had forged the disparate and often feuding unions of American labor into a unified and powerful political machine. So he's talking there about the start of Kirkland's time as AFL-CIO president and how he was really able to unify the workers of America. We see here that by emphasizing labor unity, Kirkland also strengthened the political influence of American labor. This helps us think about our big question if we return to it here. So, how can an individual both lead and represent a collective movement? It seems that Kirkland emphasized cooperation and unity because he understood that these were the best ways to mobilize the power of human beings working together for social change. This takeaway point is interesting to consider applying to our lives today. Thank you so much for tuning in to History and Coffees on This Day series, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.